All right, so we're picking up with the second part of nationalism. We are going to look at the unification of Germany and Italy. So we're picking up here on the PowerPoint. So when we left off, we discussed what nationalism was, the idea that a person's greatest loyalty should be to a group of people who they share a common culture and a common history with, not necessarily to a monarch. And so we discussed that nationalism can take different forms. So we said it can be a force that unifies. That's what we're going to talk about today. But yesterday we kind of focused on how nationalism can be a dividing force. And so we looked at the Greeks earning their independence from the Ottoman Empire. And then we saw with the spread of these nationalist revolutions throughout Europe, it's going to start to weaken these major empires. And so specifically, it starts to weaken the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Russian Empire. And so again, I had mentioned that we're going to see the ramifications of that when we get to Unit 7. A lot of that's going to lead up to not only World War I, but some of the events that are going to occur during that time period as well, like the Russian Revolution that we're going to discuss. So again, nationalism can be something that unifies people, but it can also be something that divides and weakens these major empires, which is what we looked at yesterday. But today, we are going to look at the Italian unification. So in a second, we will look at, I'll just show you. Here is the map of Italy. And you can see this is the map that we are looking at when the spread of nationalism starts to occur. So Italy is broken up into several different territories. Some of it's actually controlled by Austria. Some of it's, papal states. Other are independent, separate kingdoms in Italy. And so these people in Italy, again, with nationalism, they share a common culture and a common history. So the largest nation state, or the largest state in Italy that exists is Piedmont, Sardinia. And it is up here in the northern parts of Italy. And so Camilla di Cavour is elected as prime minister in Piedmont, Sardinia. And so he has this idea that he wants to unify Italy. Now, this is quite an achievement, or it's going to be quite an achievement, because again, we just looked at Italy. It's broken up into several different sections or several different pieces. So he knows that he has to kind of come up with a plan. So what Cavour does is he reaches out to his allies in France and he asks them for help, because the first thing that he's going to do is he wants to unite northern Italy, because that's where Piedmont, Sardinia is. So the easiest, starting place is to unite areas that are around you with your territory. And so he, with the help of the French, is going to liberate other northern parts of Italy from Austria. So we again see here that this idea of nationalism has again weakened Austria. Like we talked about yesterday, Austria is increasingly growing weaker. So the positive for this, for the Italians, is that, or for Italy, is that, or Piedmont, Sardinia at this point has now expanded their territory. They have also unified northern parts of Italy. Meanwhile, Cavour, still aiming to unite the whole of Italy, is going to start to support nationalist revolutions in southern Italy. These nationalist revolutions in southern Italy are being led by Giuseppe Garibaldi. And so he is a southern Italian nationalist. Again, Cavour is going to reach out to him. He is going to support Garibaldi during these revolutions. And basically, these two, after collecting an amount of territory in northern and southern Italy, are going to agree that they are going to join their territories together. And there you have the unification of Italy. So these two revolutionaries are going to work together to unite North and South, or northern and southern Italy. And so the result is that Italy becomes a unified Italy. And they elect King Victor Emmanuel II as their leader. So Italy is now a unified country. Okay, you guys are going to do a reading on this that gives you a little bit more information, but you do need to be familiar with Cavour and Garibaldi. Okay, so we looked at Italy before its unification, Italy after its unification. And you can see these different colors are going to represent the time that they were added to um, Italy in the unification of Italy. All right, so moving on to Germany. Germany, before its unification, is loosely unified. In the early 1800s, Germans had agreed that they were kind of unified under this German confederation, so these German-speaking people. The two dominant powers there are Austria and Prussia. There are a lot of German-speaking people in Austria and Prussia, and those are the two largest territories. So those particular two leaders are going to be our big power players, and especially Prussia here. So we're going to kind of focus on. So there's German-speaking people in Prussia. In Prussia, a new prime minister is appointed, and that is Otto von Bismarck. He is part of the Junkers. They are a military nobility, and he takes a little bit of a different approach to the unification of Germany. He talks about or exercises what we call realpolitik. And so realpolitik basically means the politics of reality. So he's not kind of adhering to, these really pretty Enlightenment ideas. It's basically, we're going to unify and we're going to get things done through practical means. So if that means going to war, then that's what we are going to do. And so that's what his goal is to unify these German-speaking people through war and diplomacy. And he needs to unify Germany. But at the current moment, he is going to need to seize these German-speaking states to unify all of Germany together. And so his two biggest challenges there are going to be Austria and France, which are surrounding Germany at this time. And so the French and uh, with Otto von Bismarck, he's really good at manufacturing incidents between people. I'm trying to make this sound as or make this as easy as possible. He's really good at manufacturing some of these major political events. And so what he ends up doing is he basically makes up this story that, the French had offended the Prussian ruler. And so the Prussian army then marches into France and basically captures Versailles, which, if you remember, is right outside of Paris, the capital of France. And there is when he is able to officially unite the rest of the German states. So the rest of the German states agree that they are going to unify with Prussia. And so we're going to see the Second Reich form here. And so King Wilhelm I of Prussia is going to be crowned emperor or Kaiser of Germany. And so this is where we're going to see the formation of the German Empire. So in this case, Germany is unified through practical means, through war, where he is going to conquer certain areas, and eventually the rest of the German states are going to agree to unify with him. And so now we have an official German empire. Okay, so if we look here was Prussia before, these purple areas, in 1862. And then you can see he continued to add to the German Empire here, these other German states. So remember, these areas were separate. They were loosely unified through the German Confederation, but they still had their own separate states. But he is going to unify these areas with Prussia. And then eventually, when he successfully marches into France, the rest of the German states are going to, here in these southern parts, are going to agree that they are going to join the German Confederation, or sorry, not the German Confederation, the German Empire. All right, so you guys are going to do a reading really quick. That's going to review a little bit about Otto von Bismarck, Cavour, and Garibaldi. And then you guys have, a reading check.